Hi there, and welcome to this video. Johnny, how can I help you?
What's the best effects pedal order, Paul?
Controversy alert.
Oh. Hi there once again. So what is the best order to place your effects pedals in the signal chain? Well, that's a little bit of a controversial subject, as everybody has their own particular ideas and everybody has their own idea of what the conventional wisdom is as far as that pedal order is. And by breaking the rules and going outside the conventional ideas, you can end up with some unique, different and inspirational sounds. So at this point, I just want to say, whatever I say the best effects pedal order is, whatever anybody else says about the best effects pedal order, take it all with a grain of salt. Yeah, sure, set your pedals up in that order, see what it sounds like, see whether you like it, and then try breaking the rules. Try putting them in a different order and see if that works for you. You might find something inspirational and different and something that your ears like the sound of. So let's have a look and see what I consider to generally be the optimum effects pedal order. So generally speaking, this is what I consider to be the all-round best effects pedal order. This is not by any means what I always use, but this is, as far as generally speaking, this is the order in which I would place things 99% of the time. It should give you a good low noise floor. It should give you decent clarity in your sound, and it should have the right amount of versatility to get most jobs done. So starting from where the guitar gets plugged in, which is up this end, we have a fuzz pedal. Fuzz pedals tend to be kind of finicky. They prefer a high impedance input signal. If you put a pedal in front of them that has a buffer in it, it's going to upset the fuzz a little bit and it just won't sound the same. So I always put it first in the effects chain if I'm going to run a fuzz pedal. Also with the fuzz pedal, you get some interesting effects when you roll the tone control back on the guitar, especially with single coil pickups. It definitely adds a lot of character to the sound, and it gives you an extra element of versatility, which you don't get when there's another pedal in front of the fuzz pedal. So next in the line is the wah-wah pedal. Now, I have found that if you put the wah-wah pedal first and have the fuzz after the wah-wah pedal, the sound of the wah-wah pedal just doesn't make it through. The fuzz just annihilates it, and you end up with some strange effects that don't really work that well. You can try it if you like, but as far as my experience is concerned, fuzz first, then wah-wah pedal. As for placing the wah-wah pedal later in the chain, you can do that. It will have a more pronounced effect if you place it after your distortions when they're engaged. And placing it after the reverb is probably a bit of an odd idea, as your reverb will actually end up with the wah-wah sound on it when you rock the pedal. So next in line is the overdrive. Overdrives generally are put in front of distortions so that there is a kind of a gain stack happening where the overdrive steps your volume up, which rams the front end of your distortion, and you end up with an even more distorted kind of effect. If you were to switch these around, what you end up with is a kind of very rough sound. You may or may not like it. As I said, there are no hard and fast rules. Everything is flexible. You can do whatever you like. But generally speaking, overdrive into distortion and overdrive after the wah-wah. If you put the overdrive before the wah-wah, as I said earlier, you end up with a more pronounced wah effect, which may be something that you want. But then you would have to put your distortion, if you have distortion and overdrive on at the same time, probably before it as well. It's up to you. But this is the order that I prefer. So next is the distortion. And the distortion, obviously, I put after the wah-wah pedal, but before all of your other effects, like the tremolo, your chorus, digital delays and reverbs and things like that. The primary reason why I put the overdrive and distortion before these other effects is these are both gain orientated pedals, which means they increase the volume of your signal. If you place these other effects down this end so that your signal goes through those and then gets amplified up into a louder sound, you will amplify any noise that is generated by these other effects, and thus your noise floor will become more. So say if you put the chorus first, you'll end up with a swishing white noise sound when you have your distortion and overdrives turned on, especially in the higher gain settings. Same with delay. You end up with a very messy sound by having a delay before your overdrive and distortions. The repeats tend to mix in with your original sound, and yeah, it sounds very messy. So, generally speaking, overdrive and distortion before all other effects, but after fuzz and wah-wah. So next on the list is tremolo or other volume-based effects, whether it be those rocking volume pedals or maybe even a soft attack pedal where you get that violin kind of sound. The primary reason why I would put these after your overdrive and distortion is if you put them before your overdrive and distortion, as the volume, or when the volume is low, at the low part of the effect, it will actually clean up and then it will get dirty as the volume increases. This may be something desirable to you, I don't know, but for me, generally I put them after, so my distortion or my overdrive or even my fuzz sound universal, like the sound is consistent, but just the volume of the sound varies. So as far as taking your volume-based effect, whether it be tremolo, volume pedal or soft attack pedal, and moving it out beyond your reverb, I don't recommend it. I mean, you can try it by all means, but what happens is your reverb will be affected by the sound, and this will give you a strange kind of effect. You may desire that, you may not, but generally speaking, I would have it before your reverb. Same with delay. I mean, if you put it after delay, your actual repeats of your initial sound will be additionally affected by the tremolo, so they will kind of may or may not get lost because of the tremolo. And as far as chorus is concerned, I mean, these two are kind of interchangeable. It is possible to switch these around. You know, I would do that at one time or another just for particular reasons, unless the chorus has a trigger in it. If the chorus is triggered, that'll mean every time the tremolo swell goes low, that'll trigger the chorus, and you may end up with some strange effects there. It may or may not be desirable. It's up to you. But generally speaking, this is the spot that I would put tremolo. As I said, nothing's set in stone. So next on the list is modulation-based effects like choruses, like this particular pedal is, phases and flanges and things of that nature. I recommend putting them after all of your distortions and overdrives and fuzzes, but before your delays. Again, not set in stone. I often run with my chorus actually at the end of the chain. But as a general rule, you have your chorus before your delays, before your reverbs. That way you have the sound of the chorus affecting your initial signal, but not affecting your repeats of your delay or your reverb. This gives a little bit more definition to the sound as far as separating the delay and reverb from the rest of your signal. If you are to put the chorus after this, your signal kind of gets mixed in with the swirl of the modulation based effect, whether it be a flanger, chorus or phaser. Don't get me wrong, sometimes this is desirable. There are some famous recordings out there that actually will use flanges at the end of the signal chain. So next on the list is delay. And as I mentioned before, if you have your delay before your chorus, your repeats of the delay kind of get mixed in a little bit. Not too much, but they get mixed in a little bit with your original signal. It can be a little harder to distinguish. If you have the chorus before the delay, the chorus will actually cause a little bit of separation between your repeats and your original signal. And as far as putting the delay after the reverb, you kind of end up with your reverb being messed up a little bit. As I said before, the reverb's kind of like the room, and you can't really mess with the reverb in the room. It just adds continuity to your sound. So when you change effects, the reverb will still be there in its totality and will smooth things over a little bit. Also, with having reverb at the end of the chain, you capitalize on the ambience that reverb can provide. If you have it in other parts of the signal chain, it just lacks a little bit of that ambience, particularly when you have it before the chorus and other things, because it just adds that continuity and that smoothing effect of anything that happens as you're playing. Lastly, I just want to say, if you've got a guitar amp that actually has like a built-in distortion, or you're using it for an overdrive or distortion effect, and it doesn't have an effects loop out, this can kind of restrict the amount of sounds that you can get, but by all means try it, because there are some famous sounds that have come about because people have stuck modulation effects on the input of those types of amplifiers and come up with some new and original sounds. So by all means try it. As I've maintained throughout this video, none of this is set in stone. You can do whatever you like as far as the effects. This is just a general guideline that will yield a fairly decent sound and a fairly decent usability from the effects that you have. So I hope you found this video interesting and informative and maybe enjoyable. And if you have, like the damn video. Don't hesitate to share the video, and don't hesitate to subscribe. I've got over 100 videos now about this kind of thing, and I'm hoping to do hundreds more. Have a great day. I'll catch you later.